Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're unmasking one of the most absolutely iconic pieces of pop culture merchandise ever created, the Spider-Man web shooter toy. Now, you might be thinking, come on, it's just a toy, right? But honestly, when we look a little closer, analyzing these hugely popular gadgets reveals this incredibly fascinating intersection of consumer engineering, product design, and even child psychology. We're going to break down exactly how these things work, the hidden developmental benefits they offer kids, and the surprisingly advanced tech that has literal adults backing them on crowdfunding sites. But it all really starts with one core question. How do you actually bring a superhero's toolkit into the real world? For decades, toy makers and DIY hobbyists have been trying to solve this exact engineering challenge. Think about it. You need something that feels magical and empowering, but it also has to obey the laws of physics, remain completely safe, and preferably not absolutely destroy the living room. It's a massive design hurdle, and as you'll see, the solutions are incredibly clever. All right, here's our game plan for today's explainer. We'll start with the web-slinging fantasy, explore the different web shooter types, give you a quick selection guide, dive into some DIY projects and engineering, cover safety and play psychology, and finally, help you suit up and shop.
Okay, Section 1, the web-slinging fantasy.
So what exactly makes a web shooter toy? Well, at its baseline, it's a wearable device that features three main things. First up, you've got a wrist-mounted blaster with an adjustable strap, which is usually designed to fit kids ages 5 and up. Second, a refillable cartridge, and this might hold just plain water or that proprietary web fluid we all know. And third, a stylized glove with that classic Spider-Man motif that fastens the whole shebang securely to the forearm. When a kid presses a button or pulls a trigger using their middle two fingers, just like Peter Parker does, the toy launches its projectile. That's the foundation, right? The standard formula. Moving right along to Section 2, exploring web shooter types. Toy makers have essentially taken two very different approaches to the entry-level web shooter. On one hand, we've got the classic 2-in-1 water and web fluid blasters. Think of the Hasbro Marvel Ultimate Spider-Man Mega Blaster. It uses disposable cans of Spidey shot web fluid or a refillable water cartridge. It's incredibly physical, super satisfying, but yeah, it can be a little messy, which honestly makes it perfect for the 5 to 7 age range. On the flip side, we have disc slinger blasters. Take the Hasbro Web Shots Gear Disc Slinger. It fires small plastic discs using a spring mechanism. It's fast, highly repeatable, and most importantly for parents, it's completely clean. Plus, it can even connect to a separate Nerf-powered Spider-Bolt blaster for this really engaging physical combo. But get this, the innovation doesn't stop at string and discs. Take a look at this incredibly creative approach, the Real Web's Ultimate Web Blaster. It uses a patented web fluid that actually changes into a tactile, playable gel right upon contact. This is absolutely brilliant for younger kids, around ages 5 to 12, who maybe have more of an arts and crafts mindset. They can fire the web, pick up the gel, and actually stretch it to physically trap their imaginary enemies. It's a real game changer that adds a whole new dimension of tactile play to the experience. Now check out this number, 7.8 feet, or about 2.4 meters. That is the seriously impressive launch range of the high-tech 2024 Upgrade 2.0 motorized rope launcher. This thing represents the absolute state-of-the-art in web shooter tech. Instead of fluids or discs, it uses a built-in electric motor to rapidly fire a physical rope, which you can actually fit with a magnet or suction cup. Then you just press a button, and the motor automatically winds the rope right back into the device. It's highly realistic, durable, and a lot of these models are USB rechargeable, so you're saving the cost and the waste of constantly buying batteries. All right, let's jump into Section 3, your quick selection guide. I want to walk you through this matrix really quickly because it perfectly structures how you should think about these toys. Notice how a child's age pretty much dictates the exact mechanism they need. For ages 5 to 7, those 2-in-1 fluid blasters give a very physical but two-dimensional experience. You just fire and forget. Also, for ages 5 and up, the disc slinger offers clean, repeatable action, though admittedly it's a bit lower on the realism scale. But look down at that bottom row. For confident kids ages 9 and up, the motorized string launcher is definitely the ultimate choice. It dynamically launches and retrieves, offering a super satisfying, premium experience that really mimics what you see in the superhero movies. Which brings us to Section 4, DIY projects and engineering. It is just fascinating to trace the progression of DIY engineering in this space. It proves that these toys are actually incredible entry points into basic mechanics and physics for older kids and even adults.
At the beginner level, you can find Cardboard Cosplay's TASM 2 templates online, literally turning a simple cereal box, some hot glue, and old pen springs into a functional paper bullet shooter. Level up to the intermediate tier, and makers are downloading free 3D printed designs from places like MakerWorld or My Mini Factory using rubber bands for tension. And then at the advanced level, community forums like Superhero Hype have full-on guides on adapting retractable keychains, watch straps, superglue, and tiny motors to build your very own functional rope launcher. There's really no limit here.
Let's shift gears to Section 5, Safety and Play Psychology. It's super easy to look at a web shooter and just see a noisy toy that makes a mess. But honestly, the psychology of play tells a totally different story. Pretending to be Spider-Man isn't just a silly distraction. It actively builds confidence and creativity through imaginative roleplay. On top of that, the simple acts of aiming, pressing triggers, and reloading cartridges, that is a fantastic exercise in hand-eye coordination and fine motor skills. As we just saw with the DIY models, it heavily encourages problem-solving and basic physics. And finally, when kids invent those cooperative good guy versus villain scenarios, they are actively developing their communication and teamwork skills. Of course, the absolutely crucial point here is keeping all of that wonderful fun completely safe. You've got to obey those age limits. The standard official shooters are strictly for ages 5 and up, and those high-speed motorized rope launchers we talked about, those really are recommended for ages 9 and up. Always respect the pressurized cans of web fluid. Never aim projectiles at anyone's eyes or face. Do not modify off-the-shelf toys with unauthorized projectiles. That creates a massive safety risk. And very importantly, for those motorized rope models, parents absolutely must assess the potential strangulation risk of the cord. That is exactly why they require parental supervision and sit in that older age bracket. And finally, Section 6, Suit Up and Shop. Okay, wrap your head around this number. Over $567,000 US. That is the massive amount of funding raised on Kickstarter by a startup for the zip string Arachna. It perfectly highlights the unbelievable demand from older children and adults for premium, high-tech web shooters. This specific wrist-mounted model glows in the dark and uses a motorized string to create an optical illusion of a continuously looping rope that seemingly defies gravity. It's wild! The future of this market is looking so bright, especially with big brands like Hasbro also refining their gel and disc systems. We can definitely expect app-connected shooters and more integrated LED effects very soon. So to wrap up all the data we've covered today, here is your definitive, structured cheat sheet for picking out the perfect gift. If you're shopping for ages 5 to 7 and you're a mess-tolerant family, grab the classic Hasbro 2-in-1 Mecha Blaster. For ages 5 to 9, where you want active, clean play, the Hasbro Disc Slinger is for sure your go-to. For ages 5 to 12, who love creative, artsy fun, pick up the RealWeb's Ultimate Blaster with that playable gel. And for ages 9 and up who demand the ultimate realism, you want the 2024 Upgrade Motorized Rope Launcher or that Zip String Arachna. Basically, just match the age and your home's mess tolerance, and you really can't go wrong. At the end of the day, a web shooter is so much more than just a piece of plastic. It's literally a ticket into a world of heroic adventure and active, story-driven fun. Whether you go for a simple water blaster, a high-tech motorized rope, or even a cardboard DIY project, you are giving the gift of imaginative play. So who will you inspire to be the next friendly neighborhood hero? For more and purchase, visit our website, Fairs Solution.